obvious. We got a problem here, and it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got two friends who you won't forget. Coming live, Alvin and Fran on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off? AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Bougie ain't an option, it's the wage. Take it to the grave, add moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I'm Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gonna post to it.
What up?
How's life, man? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. This is a late night recording, so I'm just.
It is.
I need to kind of like dig in my bag a little bit to find a little bit of energy. I've been out pretty much all day today. Today was the wife's birthday. A lot of men we like to do our things last minute. At least me, anyway.
Sure.
Last minute shopper, or just a whole bunch of. At least the big gift I did months ago.
Right.
So.
But you were trying to put together some last minute like
just
flower,
balloons,
pretty, make it pretty.
Like cake, yeah. Me and Max went out and two-man-did, and I didn't want to take him, but this is like it's bonding time.
Sure.
And he gets to come out. He want to hang with his dad, so take him out. But it's a lot of like the difficult part is, I have to call her for something, and then he'll go, Mom,
we're getting you something for your birthday.
He won't even say that. He'll go, oh, we didn't get balloons, and I go, why would you say that?
He's being clever.
But he was like, well, I didn't tell her.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you, it's hard to explain. He's like, well, we didn't do this. And I go like, you can't say that,
That's
man.
the most classic deceptive tactic is to say we did not do that. I see where his head's at. The kid's slick.
Smart man. He's a smart man. Yeah. He goes like, I didn't tell her.
Yeah. We definitely don't have cake in the car right now.
If we don't have ice, can get it's melting in the bag. Yeah. But other than that, man, it's good, old man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I cannot complain. 2 weeks until we are in Portland. It is official. It's been official for a while, but now it's super official. Everybody has plane tickets. Everybody is like, it is. We are going to the PNW to Portland. Also, I want to give a special shout out to a listener whose name I don't have on hand right now, but we have a listener who's overseas across the pond, bought tickets to the show, and cannot go to the show.
Okay.
And they have suggested that we do some kind of giveaway where we give away a free ticket to somebody, or to come up with some kind of contest for somebody to win a free ticket, because they pay for the ticket just to support the show, even though they can't come out because they
dope
live in another country. So we will be trying to figure out some way to give away that free ticket over the next week or two leading up to the show. So if you are in the Oregon area, the Washington area, and you just don't have the money to go to see the show, or it wasn't a thought that you had, but you would go if you had a free ticket, stay tuned to our socials, because you might have an opportunity to win a free ticket and come out and have a good time out in Portland, Oregon at the Growler Guys Bar. But no, super pumped, man. Is right around the corner. I'm very excited. I put together my guide on Google Maps of all the places I want to stop by and areas I want to visit and pictures of murals I want to take. So I'm very excited to go dive into Portland. So that should be a fun weekend for sure. The influx of new listeners has resurged, almost like people have found footage or some kind of cult classic movie. People have found your take again, anew, and have revitalized it, of bodies in graveyards. And so for our new listeners who have caught up and are here today and are just nostalgically looking back on the times that you said that, do you have any new thoughts? Have your thoughts changed? Can you encapsulate Fran's opinion on graveyards in like 2 to 3 sentences for people who are just clamoring for that because they're new here and just heard it for the first time?
It kind of sucks that you asked me this, because I kind of don't want to answer it, because it's a surprise. It's a little surprise that it is my It's for the show. It's for the live show. I'm not going to touch on it.
Oh, well then, hey,
I can't.
I didn't know you had secret
touch
plans for the live show, so we don't have to get into that at all. But wow, now I'm excited about this. Now I'm on the edge of my seat, and we will find out in a couple of weeks what that ominous message is. But
I have my own graveyard.
So
that's what the news is.
That's in Portland. You started a graveyard in Portland. Yeah.
You know what? That's fuck it. I'll touch it. Look, let me, because this is for the new listeners. So I'm not going to do that to the new listeners. I'm not going to do that. Because this is I'm really am happy for the people that's coming in and listen to the show. I'm not going to just leave them like that. So so graveyard. So what do you want me to answer? Like, what my thoughts on graveyards again? Or is that just the
like I think that if I'm not to attack you, but I feel like people don't really understand over the years of me having to deal with this how simple of a concept it was when you first said it, and then people started kind of feeding you things, and then like almost assisted you into making a more coherent argument than what you initially said, which was there are no bodies in graveyards.
Look,
nothing about leasing options, nothing about eviction notices.
That's what I said.
Stuff. So
you just, I don't know why you seem to. You stuck on that. I don't know why, but look, it doesn't matter what you think. This is my philosophy.
Sure, that's what I want. What do you think? That's what I want. That's just what I want to make clear to people.
Graveyards are like real estate that is being reused. I think those bodies are being taken out. So at some point they are empty because they're being reused. But all graveyards don't just have one permanent corpse in the ground at that one spot. It's not realistic, man. We don't have that much. People die every day. We just don't have that much land to just be burying people in one spot individually by themselves across the world. We just don't. Man. I don't know. I'm not out here doing interviews at graveyard. I don't know. I don't have boots on the ground research at graveyards.
Right.
I think.
Do you have any research?
I don't. I think it's
just a gut feeling.
Well, I go past and I go like, there's no way this place hasn't been upkept in decades. There's no way there's like, no. Some of these graveyards looks terrible. I'm like, what? No, no, come on now. No. The tombstone's not even there. It's falling over. It's all everything's dilapidated. No, it's just not. It's not realistic, man. You can't seem to tell me that these graveyards are not making, tons of money. Tons of money. Come on, man.
But
reusing the spots, reusing a lot.
But how quickly of a you're saying that now you're saying that they're making money hand over fist. How quickly are they turning over these graves?
I do know this as a fact that I think after the second generation or something after this person has passed, the family doesn't visit anymore.
Sure.
So maybe give it 10, 15 years? Give them the boot. Gone. Reuse it. Ching ching. More money.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'm not here to fight you on what your thoughts are.
Did you have grandmother that passed recently? I don't want to get all. But do you? I mean,
my grandfather did.
Your grandfather. Have you visited your grandfather's grave at all?
No.
I haven't.
No,
I haven't
have not.
So I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I didn't go.
You didn't know where it is.
Repass. Yeah, we went to a repass.
Okay.
We didn't go. He had it at a church, and they drove him to. They could have drove.
They could have drove him anyway. You don't even know. See,
so that's a very good point. I didn't even see him go into the ground because that was a funeral where they didn't do it at the funeral. At the graveyard.
Yeah.
They did it at a church, and then we went to a hall.
Yeah.
POV. Your family. 15 minutes after they just buried you in the ground, and it's just us doing the electric slide and eating plates of macaroni and cheese. Like, oh man, who made the macaroni salad?
It's delicious. Yeah,
it's a great time. Playing great music and just and celebrating life. But that is a funny concept of which is as soon as it was we drop them in the ground, whatever. Now it's just drifting on a memory.
Yeah.
And just having a great time.
After my brother passed, I maybe visited his grave maybe once or twice. And I went the last time I went, I said, this is not I couldn't pinpoint it, but I go, this is definitely not the spot where we buried where he buried my brother. I guarantee, I was like, this is not the spot. We had some there. I was like, this is not the spot. And they come and cut grass, and like, we didn't have a lot of money to get him a tombstone. So it was like, that makes it even more difficult. But we did have something there.
Yeah.
So we will, and I was like, this is not the spot. It was just too flat. I said, this is not, no. I don't know where my brother's gone. I don't know where he is.
You can't just keep having these gut feelings and then just making these accusations like this, man. Maybe they cut the tree down that you saw.
Tree? What tree?
I
didn't say anything about a tree.
I'm just saying, you're just like, nah, this is definitely not where we were.
It definitely wasn't.
Before.
No, man. Just wasn't. I don't know where my brother is, man. I guarantee you they don't even know. I guarantee you if I told them the name, they were like, oh, we don't, what was that? They was like, he don't have a tombstone. Let's just reuse the spot. Damn, people don't care.
The funeral, you're painting the funeral conglomerate out to be a really evil organization. And while I don't disagree with you, because
it is evil.
Don't know if of course, and we've talked about this, and you won't find me giving you any pushback on how evil I think the funeral industry
Absolutely.
is. But
and you haven't went through it like how I went through it. Unfortunately, you don't have to for a while, but I had firsthand. I'm sure a lot of people can talk about this with parents, death of parents, where it's like, you go, oh shit, it's way more than just.
Mm-hmm.
It's nah. I was like, this is not right.
It's vultures,
bro, vultures.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. But this nobody's in graveyards or them flipping the things. It's an element where
they pick
it's
and
like,
choose,
even
bro.
for
they pick and
as
choose.
much as I love conspiracies, this one is a step too far for
they
even
pick
me.
and choose. They're not just. They can't just can't. They can't
see
get greedy.
Who doesn't have good
They
family.
can't get
they make a note.
They can't get greedy. They smart with it, bro. That's how they've been getting away with it for decades. They can find out. They probably can find out your financial history, your background, your families. They know, bro. I'm telling you, they know. They go like, oh,
we can come take this one back in 2 years.
When my brother came there, they was like, oh, bang, this is one. I'm telling you, my brother was a victim of this. I'm telling you. Because wherever my brother, I'm telling you, he's not there. It sucks to say, but he's not there. Rest priest Jonte, but he is not there in that spot. Guaranteed. You know what? I'm off. I'm gonna go down there next couple of days. I'm
raise hell, man.
I'm gonna go live on Instagram. I might go live on Instagram, see, and prove that.
Y'all point them out to me. I want y'all to use the Dewey Decimal System because I know that's what they use down there.
Something.
I know y'all use that here at the graveyard too. Find him.
Stop.
Jay.
Yeah. Find him. He's somewhere over here. So, but he ain't in this spot. I don't know where he at, but he not in this spot. Telling you, man. And that's my take on it. And people can believe what they want. But you go tell me where grandmother is, grandfather is, and you go point that grave out. The grandchildren, I think that's, unless they was raised by this person, they usually don't. That's where it stops. And that's sad, but you know. Just the way
it's
it goes.
very sad. You got to keep them alive in your memories and in the stories we tell. You know, that's just grass, man. That's why I don't even want anything to do with any of that, man. I already told people. People know I've told all of my loved ones are aware I want to be made into a tree.
Yeah.
So that's just how I'm carrying it going forward. You know,
I respect that.
Maybe make me an apple tree, pluck from me, nourish yourself on me.
Respect that.
But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by My Life in a Book. With Mother's Day right around the corner, I just know you guys are thinking about a truly special gift for your mom. Well, let me tell you about a pretty priceless gift. MyLifeInABook.com. It's a unique service that turns your mom's life stories into a beautiful book that you could pass down from generation to generation, which I think is a pretty awesome memento to leave behind. Here's how it works. Every week, MyLifeInABook.com will send her a question via email. These can be pre-written questions about her life or any custom questions that you want to ask. Your mother or the mother can either type her response or record her voice. MyLifeInABook.com then compiles all of her responses into a beautiful keepsake book. And guess what? They can even create an audio book using her voice recordings. It would be like preserving her voice and her stories for all of eternity. Your mom's giving you a lifetime of stories, and this is your chance to give her a way to share them.
I'm in the middle of my mylifeinabook.com journey, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out. I've been asking some pretty thought-provoking and funny questions, and, I'm excited to see the response, but I'm also just excited to have the physical book in my hands and know that I can look back on it in 20, 30 years. The interface is super user-friendly. The questions are super easy to set up. It's a breeze of a process. So what I need you to do is check out mylifeinabook.com. That's mylifeinabook.com. And use code AMP. That's A, M as in Mother's Day, P, at checkout for 10% off. Create an unforgettable gift for the mom in your life this Mother's Day. One more time, that's mylifeinabook.com. Use code AMP for 10% off today.
All right, and we are back. Folks, this week's Affirmative Murder is a little bit different, but not really. It's all in the same vein. There was a recent break in a cold case out of Maryland, so I wanted to spread information on that. But before we spread information on that, I wanted to actually go into some details of what a cold case is by definition, and some of the steps that detectives and investigators and forensic scientists take in trying to make breaks in cold cases. So that's kind of the format of this week's Affirmative Murder. Fran, I know you love this side of true crime, the forensics, the science, the black lights, the luminals, the age tests. What, as long as we've been doing this, what have you learned in that lane that still kind of blows your mind, or is still the most fascinating part of like cold cases to you?
It's the facial recognition by far. I think facial recognition, when you're trying to predict or trying to figure out what a person may look like 10 to 15 years later down the line, what they would look like, it's amazing. It shows how far the technology has came.
Getting more and more accurate. Getting more and more accurate as time goes on.
And I think it's amazing. I think it definitely didn't help solve a lot of cold cases.
Sidebar of what you're talking about as far as facial recognition and advancing age photos and all those things. I saw a video that has chilled my bones, man. I knew AI technology was getting crazy, and it continues to get crazy. We've mentioned a couple of times about the rap game right now and Kendrick Lamar and Drake battles, and there's these AI diss songs that are coming out that sound just like the rappers. But the video that I saw was it was a warning to parents about sharing photos of your kids online, because this person who was real savvy at the internet took a picture of a little girl, put it through the AI technology, made her into an adult, made her into a child doing child sex trafficking videos of like child pornography, and then making her an adult and then doing adult pornography. And then they found a way to mimic her voice from Instagram videos and like take little slivers of her voice and make a full voice map so that they can make her say anything. Yeah. And the AI technology is getting very scary. It's getting very, very scary, very realistic. A lot of people, and again, to bring it back to the rap thing that I keep saying, but also on a global scale, somebody brought up a funny point with all these rap disses of Kendrick Lamar, like these AI disses and Drake, Kendrick Lamar and Drake. They were like, if you're a rapper and somebody uses AI to make a diss record from somebody who you don't like, and they go too far. Yeah. But you never said that. Like, there's, I'll kill your kid, I'll kill your son, or I'll do this, or I'll come in your house and I'll eat all your food. Whatever your worst nightmare, your most offensive thing is. Somebody could do something like that, and then the other person could react before they know it's fake. Right. And there's no coming back from that. And that made me think about like that on a geopolitical scale. Like, if you could make a video of Joe Biden saying the craziest shit in the world, but he didn't actually say it, but he says the craziest shit in the world about
to nuke somebody,
China, or and then it's like, but by the time we're able to fact check it and prove that it's not real, the other side is like, oh, then let's go. Yeah. So this AI shit is getting very spooky. For sure. Yeah. So it's just something to think about.
I don't like
That's
it,
very separate from facial recognition and cold cases and CSI and stuff like that. But that is something I think about when I think about how they're able to. They have these 3D molds now. They can take something like a 7-year-old's deceased body and turn it into like a 3D rendering of them if they were an adult. Yeah. You know, like it's just wild with how far technology is coming.
Yeah, we're becoming idiots. That's what the problem is. If I had ChatGPT when I was in school, I would have about a master's.
And it would be made of plastic. Like it would be the most. They ask you like anything about whatever your field is that you get this master's degree. And you're like, I don't know.
I have no idea, but I got it though.
Ask ChatGPT.
I passed though.
Let me Google it real quick.
Man, you could just type in love letter to wife for April. Then boom, boom, thump, boom. With this, I want this in it. I want names. Then boom, 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 and then it goes click and it goes fullest in seconds.
Yeah,
you go damn.
No, the next generation's too, man. The next generation's too. They're gonna have no heart, no soul, no critical thinking skills. We're all kind of fucked. But, you know, that's America. Anyway, friend, let's get into cold cases, right? So, cold cases by definition is an unsolved criminal investigation, like a homicide or an abduction, that is being actively pursued because of a lack of evidence. Typically, after at least 1 year of investigation, a case may be filed as a cold case. The most common cases that go cold are homicides. And it can be challenging to get a cold case reopened, Fran, as you know. It is simply a fact that it's significantly easier to solve a crime right after it happens.
Yeah.
And the more time that passes, the degree of difficulty increases.
Yeah. First 48.
There you go. Having information from the scene and witnesses is easier to obtain closer to the time when the crime occurred, and allows law enforcement the element of surprise when questioning witnesses and suspects. Because as time goes on, people can start to come up with their alibis, come up with their lies, because information gets out to the public. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know what the victim's jacket color was, or what they looked like exactly, or what kind of car they drove, then when you go to question people, they haven't gotten those pieces yet, so where they can try to defend against them in what they say to the police. So the fresh witness, the fresh suspect, is the easiest target for detectives to use their tactics on, because you don't know anything. Yeah. You really are talking to the police blind. Yeah. Which I don't recommend that you do.
Yeah. I love the tactic when police hide some crucial, important evidence that they have. But sometimes I think about, like, I wish that, like, that window in the beginning, I wish obviously you have to announce to the public that this tragic incident happened. But as far as investigation, I feel like maybe, because I'm just speaking on just like, I'm a couch detective. So somebody can come on here, a detective can come on here like, well, we don't do this because of this. But what I wanted to get to was, I wish that they would, keep more stuff in-house, kind of investigate with the family first, and kind of work backwards from that. Right. Instead of we putting out this, reward this, public. We're telling everybody everything. Yeah, telling everything. Now people can, whoever the suspect is, they can, now they on to me, from whatever evidence they have already. Let me let me get out of country. Let me get out of this and this. And I kind of wish they would go, if they have family you can reach out to, do that first. Right. And then see what you can come from there, and then kind of try to piece it together quietly. Right. To find before trying to go get because I just think when it's just out there, I'm like, man, the person is, I always had this idea that the person who done something tragic, killed, murdered somebody, whatever, some type of terror, they are sitting on the couch eating a bowl of cereal and watching you talk, watching, Chiefs or whatever talk. It's like
the person wears glasses, they're about 5'8", they have blonde hair. So, okay, well, let me go get a box of
exactly, because they are. They're keeping up. Right. Yeah. They listen to the radio, they watch TV, and they're fucking dancing or whatever the fuck weird people should, some weird shit they do. And they're just like
doing Buffalo Bill shit.
Yeah, just like happy and shit. And look at them like, and then they see something like, they're not even close, idiots. Yeah. I just don't. That's scary to me, man.
No, for sure. So months and years passing after a crime can make solving a case very difficult. And therefore, some cases where evidence and leads have been exhausted, those cases may go cold. Police are required to look back at cold cases when time allows. However, if there's new information or evidence, pursuing a reopening is worth a try, especially if someone has been wrongly accused, which has become kind of the focal point of a lot of true crime investigations and philanthropic work as far as pro bono law work for people who have been wrongly convicted and are sitting in prison for things that they didn't do. So in those regards, if you have any kind of evidence or inkling that you're dealing with a case that was wrongly prosecuted, then you kind of have a duty to go and try to reopen it, try to pursue it, and try to right a wrong.
So let me ask you a question.
Oh, go for it.
So do you think the effort in getting a person who's wrongfully accused out of prison, do you think the same effort for that is being put into also solving that crime as well?
It's one of those things where the retraction is always on further in the newspaper than the conviction, right? So if the Central Park Five, I don't think they ever figured out who killed that woman, or I don't think she was murdered. I think she was just assaulted and like brutally assaulted, but I don't think she was killed. Either way, in any of these cases where people were wrongly convicted of something, we just know that the people who were charged got exonerated and let free.
Right.
But if they did catch the real killer, that doesn't make the news in the same way that the initial story did. So I don't know, but I would say I would probably tend to go in the direction of no, those cases in that regard, if somebody is found to be wrongly convicted and accused and they are exonerated and let free, then I would think that case would now go into the cold case department. And I don't know how urgent there of a feeling it is to dive back into this case.
Yeah.
Because now it's been 20 years. We thought we had the guy. So now it's just it's a ice cold case. Shout out to Madison McGee. But now it's a super cold case, and we thought we had the guy. Now you're starting us back at square one, and we don't have any evidence to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably the hardest cases to solve, is a wrongfully convicted person, and now you're back at square one trying to find a new suspect because you thought this was the guy.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times there are other suspects, but the detectives chose to try to go with this narrative, so they didn't pursue those other suspects any further.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's 10, 15, 20 years later, that other suspect could be dead,
True.
could have moved.
Yeah.
So those are really hard cases to solve. So I would say my long-winded answer to your question would probably be no. I don't think there's as much urgency or care when it comes to a cold case as the product of a wrongful conviction as opposed to the wrongful conviction itself.
Yeah. I just
It's
think
like, we got you free, but now this woman's just a dead woman who doesn't have a justice.
all the efforts go to that, but then it's like, what about the family of the victims and shit like that? And it's just like, well, we got all of the focus of that story comes back around, but now the focus is on this person who was wrongfully convicted.
Yeah,
he gets exonerated, and then
justifiably too, because that's awesome.
Yeah, and then it's just like, well,
but you're ripping closure from a family.
Absolute.
Because for 20 years, 10 years, you told us this was the guy. We thought we did it.
Yeah.
And now you're telling us it's not the guy, and also there's no guy.
Yeah.
So that's hard. And again, I agree with you. I don't think that is even spotlighted enough. I don't think that we really even get to see that end of it.
Because that is the end of it.
Yeah.
Once a person gets out, that's it. We don't hear the story no more.
Like in the case of, as this story has been brought up ad nauseum, but it's a great example. The Adnan Syed case. Heyman Lee's family, from what I can tell, still believes that he did it, and then they had to see that man walk out of prison. And
we hear more about their life after when they get $500,000 or whatever they get. We hear more about that than we do about, okay, let's kind of figure out what happened in this crime again, this murder or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, good for those people that can kind of rebuild their life again. But it's like, I kind of don't care if they get $20,000 or whatever and figure how they spent it or whatever. And then it's like, what about this family over here?
Yeah.
Now I have to sit here and watch the news about this person who's got released from prison and exonerated, and
until you give me somewhere else to put my anger, I still think this is the guy.
Absolutely.
So now you're showing me this guy got a Hulu deal and is writing books, and I think he killed my daughter.
That's rough.
Because you guys don't have I'm going to the police station every day again. Now everything starts over again. Now you guys have a lead? Like, well, we have nothing. Okay, so you have nothing, and I still believe this is the guy. So that's hard.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this before, but like, how do you get the attention of somebody who goes, I didn't do this? For it to be legitimate, for you to actually take it and take it seriously and kind of, all right, let's see if this guy is legit.
Well, that's tough, man. Maggie Freeling did a whole podcast, Murder in Alliance. She took on a case for this guy and did a whole podcast season, believing that the guy was wrongfully convicted. And by the end of it, she got to it. He wasn't. He was guilty. But I don't want to say fell for it, but yeah, like,
that's crazy.
They reached out. You believed them. That you put the resources behind them. You answered the phone calls every day, and them being like, "Yeah, man, I hope I get out of here. That this is a miscarriage of justice." And you believe in what they're saying, and then you get to the end, and it turns out no, they did do it. So it is hard. I'm sure it happens a lot. I'm sure with the Innocence Project. I'm sure it happens a lot. Sometimes they get you. Sometimes somebody's believable, and they're a liar. So it's hard. I'm sure that's hard. I don't envy that position to be like.
I would love to see the stats
of how many people
they got duped by. Because I know there's it's not, because it ain't, because you only hear 100%. You only hear, this person's shooting 100.
The victory story.
What about the ones that
you put in 100 man
yeah.
hours and you guys almost got to the appeal process, and then it turned out that last minute you spoke to somebody's cousin or whatever from the neighborhood, and they go, "Oh no, I saw him do it."
Yeah, because you miss more than you hit, and if you done got 4 out of the 10, it's like, all right.
And what's that phone call like when you go, "Hey man, hey, did the appeal go through? Are we going to court? You get me out of here?" It's like, no man, come on, the DNA came back, man. Your fingerprints are all over the murder weapon.
Yeah,
you got me. Damn. Almost, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? All right, well, appreciate the time.
Start quoting Michael Jordan and shit. Like, this ain't the time for that, man.
We almost let a bloodthirsty murderer back out on the streets because I believed you when you said, you were at home with your baby, taking care of your baby. You weren't even anywhere near the crime scene. We got photos. The photos, they unearthed the photos, man. They saw you. You got your feet in the blood. Oh, man. You caught me. Shoot. I thought I burned those.
Darn.
All right, well, hey, man, it's been nice meeting you. He's just like chugging, like, well, I tried, man. Hey, just stay blessed.
That's crazy. End the phone call on some genuine polite shit. Like, nah. Well, next time, it's like, yeah.
I hope you don't feel like you wasted your time. Yeah, I do, man. These resources could have been going to somebody who really is wrongfully convicted. Like, well, que sera, sera, right? French. All right. So anyway, the oldest case solved using forensics from an ice cold case was a double murder from 1956. The genetic genealogy process positively identified the murderer, even though he had passed away. The case would still be unsolved if it weren't for the cooperation of the suspect's living children. So this is almost like the Golden State Killer case where the guy was dead, but his DNA popped up in a database. And because his children cooperated and gave DNA samples, they were able to prove that, the DNA sample from the murder was that of their family member who was passed away.
That's nuts, man.
That's justice. Even though the guy won't see a day in prison, you get to put a name to a face. You get to put, a case in the solved file. And that's some kind of closure for the family.
That's still nuts, though. You do like a 23andMe, and they call you and shit.
They're like,
FBI
you just linked. You're related to a murderer, or your DNA flagged in a murder investigation. That's a phone call I never want to get, and that probably is why I haven't done 23andMe.
Are you related to Samuel Little? Like what? Huh? He's like your fucking great fucking grandfather or some shit like that, cousin or something.
But now let's get to the cold case that we wanted to talk about this week. So, in 1998, an unidentified woman was found deceased, lying in a field, hidden in some brush on an old farm in Charles County, Maryland. The woman was believed to be. Say it again.
I don't even know what Charles County is at.
No, man. Once you get outside of Baltimore County, I don't know. I always try to let people know I'm from Baltimore.
Yeah.
So when you start bringing up Frederick and Prince George's County and Allegheny. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Waldorf is in Charles County though, but I never even been there, so I don't. I only heard of Waldorf, so I know it's in Maryland, and I think Waldorf is in Charles County, but I've never been.
And much respect to them, much respect to them.
They got a couple clans out there. I don't like how that sounds.
Yeah, I don't like how that sounds at all. I'm okay. I'm good. Chuck County, God bless them, and I hope they keep doing whatever it is that they do out there, making marmalade or I don't know.
Named after the Lee Klansman. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's some deep, dark history.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I have no interest in. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to go. So, so the woman was believed to be between the ages of 25 to 35. She was approximately between 5'4" and 5'7". She weighed about 115 to 135 pounds and had no visible scars, marks, or tattoos. While investigators were unable to determine the victim's identity at the time, they were able to determine that her death was a homicide. There was an abandoned house and 3 motels nearby where her body was found, but investigators didn't know if she was killed there or somewhere else. Forensic scientists came up short for decades, but continued to attempt to identify the woman through various means, including facial recognition and updated fingerprints identification, but the woman remained unidentified. They ran her through all the new systems, all the new tech, and it still was coming up short every time, Fran, for years. Years were passing.
Yeah.
Investigators also reached out to Dr. Aaron Kimmerly, an anthropologist with the University of South Florida, who conducted an isotopic analysis indicating that the victim was U.S. born from the Northeast region, most likely a local of Maryland or a nearby vicinity like Virginia or the D.C. area. So, which is also crazy that they're even able to do that. Like, they can tell that you're born in the USA, the region in which you come from. Like, it's just wild, the science out there.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how do you find that out?
That isotopic analysis, son. So, it's pretty wild the way that technology has made leaps and bounds from a dude using a magnifying glass and intuition, walking into a crime scene and being like,
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, well, that guy, but all the Sherlock Holmeses out there where they go, this coffee's still warm. I think this was a third person. And now today, you just can swab the coffee cup and they'll tell you who drank it, their name, where they live, the last time they went to the DMV, and all these things. And all you could tell is, how warm the coffee was. They put their lips to it, destroying the DNA, even though they didn't know what DNA was. It's about 3 hours old. It's like, I could have told you that. I could have told you the coffee's still a little bit warm. But now you messed up the crime scene.
Now your spit is in it. Holding the cup and shit.
You corrupted the sample now. But, 1926, DNA wasn't a thing, so it didn't even matter. You go put your lips on shit, come walking in with muddy shoes on in the crime scene, destroying everything. This place is a pigsty. Can we sweep this up? Can we just tidy it up in here a little bit? Let's get all this nasty blood cleaned up. Somebody get me a stick of chalk. I'm going to lay down on the ground, and I'm going to draw an outline around this body so we know that it was right here.
Do they still do that?
Hell, no, I don't think so. Maybe they do. I guess it matters where the body was found, but that's just such a stereotypical crime scene thing is the outline of a body. I don't think they do that.
Okay.
I think we've gone past. I think we can take pictures and we get where the body was. They still put those little markers next to stuff that's important evidence. Though. I like those.
I don't know. I think they should go back to outlines.
For what purpose? Because you like it. Because you think
I just think that for the family's sake, for the court, that's rough, man. I don't want to see.
Oh, the body?
I don't want to see the details.
You don't want to see the actual body?
Nah, man.
Oh, you think that's what that is? You think that's a placeholder for we don't need to take pictures of the body and stuff.
They don't need to leave it laying there.
We know it was right here.
Yeah, they don't need to leave it. No,
that's a good point. And I didn't think of it that way. And if that was the reason that they did that, then I think they should bring it back. I think that I actually agree with you in that regard. It's we don't need to be show. We know where the body was. We don't need to show gruesome pictures.
Yeah, you don't need to.
This is where the body was. This is where the bullet casings were in relation to where the body was. We moved the body.
Even that body cold on the ground like that, with a white sheet over it. We don't need to. They don't need to.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. No, you did that.
They don't need to do that.
You did that, Fran. I didn't even think of that angle. So, as a part of their effort to identify Jane Doe, every year on the anniversary of her discovery, the agency promoted the story through traditional media and social media. So they would put out that this body was found in 1998. Every year they would kind of revitalize the tip lines and try to re-spark the interest in the case.
Yeah.
Tips would come in, but any potential match was ultimately eliminated through DNA because they did have a body. So if anybody did come forward and go, I think that's my cousin or I think that's my sister, they would bring them in, swab them, and then if there wasn't a DNA match for the DNA that they had, it's like, oh, then this tip went nowhere. You're not related to this person. You're not related to this Jane Doe. So she remained unnamed. That was until June 18th of 2023. Keep in mind, this woman was found in 1998. So this was the 25th anniversary of the year that the Charles County Jane Doe was discovered. Reporter Megan McGrath from the NBC News for Washington met with detectives and members of the forensic science section to air another story, providing as many facts as they could release to the public, as we talked about, Fran. So it's like there's some stuff that they didn't want to say to the public, but they released as much stuff as they could without, ruining the investigation, because some stuff you put out there and then once this is known, there's nothing that somebody can come forward to connect some pieces.
Right.
It's like we gave you all the pieces. You got to keep one piece to yourself. So then when somebody comes and goes, I think that I know this, and you go, oh, the public doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. So if you know this part, then you were there, or you are of some value.
Yeah.
So they do stories like that every year to try to get somebody to come forward and offer some evidence. So they did for the 25th anniversary. They come forward, the Charles County Jane Doe. Here's another. We're looking for tips and all these things. But this time, the news coverage generated a lead. On the exact night that the story aired, Deputy Director Noel German of the Forensic Science Section received a tip from a family member indicating that they had just watched the story on television and that the Jane Doe might be their relative. So they just happened to be watching. It's 2023. The odds of you watching a show the night that it aired are unless you're talking about Game of Thrones or something big, the odds of you watching a show the night that it premieres is very unlikely. And this person just happened to be watching the night that the news segment aired and called that night with a tip of this Jane Doe possibly being a member of their family. The family member sent photos of their relative to the investigators, who immediately noted a similarity in the sketch used to try to identify Jane Doe in 1998. Through further investigation, detectives located potential siblings of Jane Doe, and in 2023, one of her siblings provided a DNA sample for comparison. On October 25th, 2023, officials met with the victim's family and confirmed Jane Doe's identity. The Jane Doe, now identified as LaQuanda Denise Niecy Williams, was from Southeast D.C. and was 31 years old when she went missing in 1998. Now, while Williams' killer is still unknown, learning her name is a major break and brings a lot of closure to the family, who had no idea what happened to Niecy for 25 years. So you got to keep that in mind too, right? Like, while they had a body, they didn't know who she was. Niecy Williams just disappeared one day in 1998. Her family never saw her again. So until they were able to identify this Jane Doe as Niecy Williams, that family just assumed that Niecy disappeared. So this is a great closure to them, which I'm happy for, that they didn't get until last year. Until October of last year, they were questioning if they would ever know what happened to their sister, their mother, their daughter. I don't know if she had kids, but she was 31 years old when she went missing, so it's possible that she had kids. I'm not sure. I think that's another thing. I couldn't find much information on Niecy Williams. I think that's something that they're probably keeping to themselves as well, like who she is, her family, and like information about her, because it's still an unsolved murder. Yeah. So I don't think they want to tell the public too much about her.
Right.
So, at least, it's been a year since she was identified, so I would think if there was information that could be given to the public, it would be given to the public. So I feel like the investigation team is probably telling her family, keep your theories and your speculations to yourself for now. If you think there was a guy who she was dating who might be a suspect that you think could have did this, don't tell it to a news outlet.
Yeah, I get that.
just keep it to yourself while we do some investigation in the background.
Somebody knew something though. All this damn time.
For sure. I would say so. I think so. But again, we don't know. I wasn't able to look up Niecy Williams' lifestyle,
right?
Her
no
dating
friends,
history,
like nothing. Like, come on.
So I doubt that, and I think that it's just they're keeping that close to the vest, like you talked about. Like I think they're doing the investigation and telling the family lips sealed while we cross off suspects, bring suspects to the forefront, and further investigate them, so we can really put together a list of people who could have done this.
Yeah.
The Charles County Sheriff's Office is urging anyone with information related to LaQuanda Williams' homicide to come forward and contact Detective Shankster at 301-932-3037 or through email at shankster, SHANKSTERC @ccso.us. Information can also be submitted through Charles County Crime Solvers by calling 1-866-411-TIPS. Again, that's about all the information that we have as far as the LaQuanda Niecy Williams cold case, which is now even though it's a cold case, she is no longer a Jane Doe. I think it is awesome that she was able to get her name back, be re-identified, and no longer is just a number in a file. She is Niecy Williams. Her family's been brought closure, and I think that's super awesome. But now we have a cold case that needs to be solved, and I would love to see this solved. And if bringing some awareness to this case can help in any kind of way, we're happy to do it. So again, that's the information as far as tips are concerned. If this sounds familiar to anybody, if Niecy Williams is a member of your family, maybe an aunt or uncle, or from the Virginia, D.C. area, and this sounds familiar, pass things along, and maybe we can help bring some closure to this family in a bigger way by bringing some real justice to Niecy Williams and her family. So, that was the Affirmative Murder this week. A little bit different.
Yeah.
Fran, before we get out of here, do you have any recommendations?
I started watching this show, Unlocked, I think it's called. Started watching it Unlocked.
In it deep.
Started watching.
I think I'm on episode 5.
Really, I'm on like episode
Randy Randall?
3 or 4.
Randy Randall is
who? Unc? Is that Unc?
Yeah, the guy that is trying to be the president of the. He's like a villain from. I love him. He's like, oh, you go.
I think. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's one of those dudes where like, you look at him and you go like, I see whatever he's doing, he means a lot, but you can't trust him though.
No, he's so drunk on power.
You can't trust him because
he's
it's like
on power.
He seemed like he's selfish, but he wants to make himself seem like he's out for the people.
Yes. And yes, he is a very selfish person who is not doing these things that he's doing for altruistic reasons. He's doing them because he wants the credit. He wants people to praise him. And low key, he likes to feel like he's the boss.
Yes.
He came up with this whole system, and jobs. As soon as they were like, I think we're going to open the doors, he was like, okay, cool. We need people. I got a list. I made a list of people. You're going to do this. You're going to do that.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, not going to do. Hey, come talk. I need you to do this. The youngsters in here. We got to do that. Boom, 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 boom. All right, cool. Hand fist through the window. Cool. Go down here to listen. Hey, man. I need you to do that.
You're going to be in charge of this.
The steps. They don't make sure they're going to pass the steps. We ain't trying to fuck up nobody. I was like, some of them like.
There was two things. There was 2 things about Randy Randall. Also, there's another guy in there who stabs people. He's absolutely insane. He has the eyes.
Oh, you talking about Tiny?
Tiny, a lunatic, a certified lunatic.
A 5'5" lunatic,
and hates everybody who's taller than him, and thinks that they had.
He looks like a rapper.
Something. He looked like Darrell Brooks, and I couldn't stop.
Who was that?
Waukesha.
No,
Christmas
he looks like
attacker.
He reminds me of the guy in Moesha who comes in. I think he looks like Tupac a little bit. You remember that guy? He comes in like
Sticky
dates
Fingers?
Moesha. Who was his name?
Sticky Fingers, the rapper from Onyx.
I think so. That's what he reminds me.
Hey, what's up, shorty? That guy?
Yeah.
What's up, shorty?
Yeah, that's what he reminds me.
Q.
Q. Yep.
Yeah, Q, her boyfriend Q.
Yeah,
her bad boy boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who was from New York, even though they were in
him.
California.
That's what
What's up, shorty? Yeah, no, I see that. I see that too. But yeah, he's absolutely crazy. And when the show first started, what was wild is I don't think the show will be on much longer. I think it's going to be not. I don't mean like it won't get a second season. I know it's not going to get a second season. I think it's going to be pulled from Netflix. So if you haven't finished it, I would suggest you watch it. One, the chief, the guy.
Why do you think it's going
like,
to be pulled from Netflix?
Let me tell you. So
Okay.
the chief, right? The guy who's like he's like, I'm trying to make a difference in the world.
Yeah. Rick.
He's
he reminded me of what's that guy named, the radio host? But go ahead, I forget.
Oh, Tom Joyner.
Tom Joyner. That's what he reminded me of.
So he's the chief, right? He just works at the prison. He's not authorized to lease out this concept to Netflix. That had to go through the state. So he's entered into an illegal contract with Netflix, from what I'm hearing. Like
Really?
he's not allowed to. How he's going in there like, I have this concept. I was like, I want to try something different. He's not allowed to speak on behalf of this prison. So everything he's showing, which is insane what they're showing. I mean, they're really getting in fights. Blood is crazy.
Yeah.
What they're showing, one, doesn't make the prison look good because they're in there drinking alcohol and there's nothing positive happening. They just are managing to not get caught or get in trouble.
New. It's nothing new, though.
But my point is, I feel like when the show first started, when he's talking, you're like, oh, he's going to try to make this like Sweden, and they're going to be this progressive prison. It's like, no. They're still committing hella crimes and fighting each other and beating each other up. You just are leaving the doors open.
Yeah.
The show's insane, and I think it's illegal. And also, I thought the show was fake when I put the first episode on. Me and my girl were watching it, and I was like, oh, man. Because there was like a really short guy on the first episode who got in an argument like 5 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they're going to have this little short guy get in an argument with this guy. Okay, this looks staged. And then the black guy really hit him and split his mouth open. And I went, oh, shit, that was a real punch.
Yeah.
I thought it was like going to be a bunch of fake arguing and then the security step in the fight. I've seen so many punches get thrown and land.
Yeah.
People get split open.
He called out a hit. It's crazy.
So I highly recommend Unlocked as well. Great, fantastic recommendation, Fran.
Yeah.
My recommendation is also Unlocked, but also I've been watching Baby Reindeer, which is also on Netflix.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Netflix is cooking, bro. Netflix is cooking. I don't know if I'll be disappointed, but I'm about 3 episodes in. This is a very complicated character, this guy. I don't like him. He's not a likable guy at all, but the show is really good. And I mean, I don't think he's not likable. I think he's not likable on purpose. Like, the guy's it's based on the guy's real life, and I think it's really cool how vulnerable he's being and how honest that he's being about, like, what a piece of shit he was.
Yeah.
And so he's not likable, like I said, but the concept of the show and what I'm watching is very interesting and entertaining. But it's so cringy. It's a great show so far. I hope it continues to be so, but it's kind of tough to watch. It makes you uncomfortable.
I can't remember what it's about. I remember reading.
It's about a guy who has a stalker.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, it's about a guy who has a stalker. He's a comedian, terrible comedian. And some
is that
woman,
like is that part of the character? Or?
Yeah, that's part of the cringe.
He's just a shitty.
He just is like
jokes.
He
does like knock jokes.
He's like Carrot Top. He has like props. He's like a really bad comedian, but he gets this woman just kind of falls in love with him, and he is too nice, or also he likes it kinda, and so he doesn't tell her no or go away, and it escalates, and I'll leave it at that. But it's really good. It's really good so far. So those are my 2 recommendations.
Oh, I have another one I started watching. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
It was I started watching Fallout. Because I played the game.
2 episodes of that as well. I never played the game.
I played the game back in the day, and I was like, let me go give it a try. And
what'd you think that
just
first
like
episode?
It was that was crazy, man.
Gruesome.
Gruesome, but I mean, like, imagine being at like work or like a party and like the world is about to fucking explode. And it's like,
man,
what? And then everybody's trying to run.
That first 5 minutes.
Good
was
luck with
insane.
that.
Yeah, that first 5 minutes was nuts. From the party and then him getting the horse and it's a fun watch. It's campy and silly, but incredibly violent.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Idiocracy, where everybody's dumb, well, at least everybody in the bunker's dumb because they live this fake life.
Yeah.
So then when you see them go up to the real world where people like the world ended,
Yeah.
and they're like, hello, do you know the way to get some water? And they're like, water? We've never had water in our whole life. And they're like, okay. Right. They got like space clothes on. And
yeah.
So it's a like I said, it's a silly show, but it's really good so far. I think that I can't even find a real comparable show to like as silly and ridiculous and like the dumbest shit happens in the show, but it all makes sense in the world. The world is dumb.
Yeah.
And it's so like graphic and gratuitously violent that I really enjoyed it. So I liked Fallout as well.
Yeah.
So we got Fallout, we got Unlocked, and we got Baby Reindeer. Folks, check them out, get to them wherever you can, and enjoy. But folks, until next time, one last time, May 4th, Portland, Oregon. We would love to see you. Tickets, we're in the last batch. I'm going to be honest with you. We're on the last batch of tickets. We got a few left. If you want to come to the show, please feel free to get a ticket, but you might not be able to do that for much longer. So get to it while the getting is good, and get it and go get it and get gone and going, gone, and get it, and you get it or get gone. I've been Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin, and we'll see you guys next week.
Deuces.